I'm going to explain why we cover The View, and they actually talk about why they cover Trump so much, because this is how politics are won or lost. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is where all the happy patriots are. I'm just a comic book guy who does the news for entertainment and trying to make you smile just a little bit. If you do smile a little bit, you should subscribe.
Donald Trump, remember him? He has so many trials and court cases to keep up with. But let's focus on this one because it's it's only an hour show.
This is how that Letitia James New York suit has made its way all the way into mainstream media, because The View is mainstream.
There's no question about Letitia James, the corrupt Attorney General of New York. It's a witch hunt in the truest sense of the word. It's election interference. It's all a conspiracy. See, my legal issues, every one of them, everyone, civil and the criminal ones, are all set up by Joe Biden, crooked Joe Biden. These are all set up by Biden and the Democrats. This is their new form of cheating.
It's Biden.
I am happy that The View showed that long string of quotes from Trump just to get the truth out.
So threats of political violence are skyrocketing already. And yesterday, this judge, Engoron, received a bomb threat before he got to the court. This is what's going on in the country right now.
Judge Engoron, that's Letitia James's guy. He did get a bomb threat, but we don't know who it's from. They're always implying that violence comes from the right and threats come from the right. And most violence threats, and when violence happens, it's almost always from the left. We don't know why the bomb threat. It could have been because Engoron was Jewish or something, and one of these Palestinian guys came in and did a bomb threat, all of which are Democrat leftists, where Jews' lives are in danger in New York right now because of leftists, not because of right-wingers. And right-wingers, they have their anti-Semitism and their violence too. I'm not denying that, but they will not mention that Marjorie Taylor Greene was swatted and her family was swatted. Her daughters were swatted. Family members of the right-wing are swatted. And so it goes both ways. It's people are going crazy. They're also going to blame it on Trump coming. They blamed it on Trump coming up the elevator, but something else actually happened that really shows the uptick in violence, and it's the Black Lives Matter riots.
We never heard this. We never heard this before. During Obama's, for 8 years, we never heard about this. Even George Bush, who was not popular with a lot of people, never heard this.
And then came the Black Lives Matter riots, where 25 policemen lost their lives. Billions of dollars worth of damage. Wendy's set on fire. They pretend like you don't know that that existed, that there were thousands and thousands of people marching and rioting and tearing businesses apart, shut down whole communities, Antifa taking over cities in Portland and Seattle, Washington. They're pretending like you didn't see all of that. They're pretending like it's just a sea of right-wingers with torches. No. Tiny, tiny groups of psychotic right-wingers do violence. By far, the radicals are the left.
Someone like that lacks impulse control should be nowhere near nuclear numbers, right? Nuclear codes.
I'm only saying that the guy that has access to the nuclear codes now has a lack of bladder control.
And I also want to mention, yes, there was this bomb threat, but right now there's no connection between Trump and the bomb threat, right? So I want to make sure that we don't get ourselves into trouble.
Thank you for clarifying that. Because what you're implying all of this time is false.
But this rise in political violence has been somewhat connected to Trump in other instances, because if you look at all of his other cases, you have...
she couldn't come up with one, because it has nothing to do with Trump.
Donald Trump is running for president to stay out of jail, just hands down. And
that's the dumbest take, and yellow makes you look fat. The dumbest take is that Trump is only running for president to stay out of jail, but he ran for president before any of these indictments happened. How do you explain that? They all came in response to him running. So she gets it the exact opposite, because she also has such Trump derangement syndrome.
If you think he's been in court a lot now, wait until the general election. This summer, he is going to be on trial for the January 6 charges. He's likely going to have his former vice president testify against him, his former chief of staff. I say all this to say, In any traditional environment, that would mean that the general election would be a landslide for Joe Biden. But right now, this is 50-50 head-to-head.
Well, that's why we're on it on a regular
but there's
basis.
very much a
Yeah, so happy that you're on it. It's The View to the rescue. They refuse to tell you is that the reason why all of this stuff is happening to Trump is because he's running and the people know it now. So that's why Biden does not get an advantage for Trump being tied up in lawsuits. Trump doesn't have to campaign. This is the campaign, which is Democrats trying to tie him up in court cases. They pretend like this is a neutral event. It is pure politics. And the people know it.
10 months from now, you could have the first 10 months from now, you could have the first ever convicted felon being elected president.
Well, and
can
that's
I
why the
just say
14th
one-
Amendment.
He will be convicted as a felon unless the Supreme Court steps in, and he will win the presidency. Why? It's not because Americans love felons, you moron.
It's so important. That's why it's so important for us to make sure that he is ineligible to become president.
Oh, wait, what? You have to make him ineligible?
Because he is ineligible to become president.
Oh, I forgot. He is ineligible. No, she just gave away their whole agenda. Guys, he's eligible, but we have to make him ineligible.
That's going to ultimately be
Supreme-
decided by the Supreme Court, including
Yes.
somebody like Clarence Thomas.
That's a fact, Supreme Court, baby. I hope he weighs in and gets Trump off the hook, because that at least is justice. Then we can get on with the election. I'm Doug in Exile.